Hey, it's John Reed, JDOD. I've got Steve Niesmann from Itelligence. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you, John?
Doing good. So we're almost done with the summit.
Yes.
It's been a little hot, but what can you expect from Miami, right?
Hot and humid.
Yeah, exactly. I consider Itelligence a pretty advanced SAP partner in a lot of ways. I don't know if that's a fair description, but you guys have been around for a while and seen a lot of evolutions in the market. So is the cloud evolution that SAP has been emphasizing, is that for real on the ground for you with customers? How is that affecting your business?
So a couple points. So thank you for the compliment. Yes, we've been around quite a while. We were founded in 1989, came to the States in 1996. So we've been through many evolutions with SAP, the rise of client server, migrating into Y2K, then going into part of a recession, and now kind of this cloud buzz, if you will. Specifically to your question, when we talk about the cloud, I think it is real and interesting in the context of our customers that they're looking at cloud solutions. I think it could be bifurcated into the sense of what does cloud mean to them and what does that mean vis-a-vis an on-premise solution. So I think there's a lot of buzz, but I think that buzz is real within the community.
Right. And you were saying that a certain percentage of your customers are starting to, you guys do a fair amount with All-in-One, for example. You were saying that a certain percentage of them are starting to ask for more hosted options and stuff. What is that?
So I think there's a couple things, John. So first of all, when our customers are looking at a solution, they're saying to themselves, I have a certain business pain. And when they look for an application to do it, I think what's kind of new in the last year or so is they say, I want to look at a solution to solve this business problem first. Is it available in the cloud? Can I buy a cloud solution, easily digestible? I can rent it, pay less for it, no capital investment. So let me look in the cloud first. Second, they want to look at that solution. If it's not a cloud solution, is there a standard package application like an SAP as an example where I can acquire that? If it doesn't meet those first two criteria, they go to criteria 3, which is then I'll build it. So I would kind of summarize that discussion as I look at cloud first, which is new, then I look at package applications, and then third I'll build it myself. Now the second half of what I'm implying from your question is data centers and is it a hosted solution? I think what's migrating in the ecosystem now with more cloud acceptance is CFOs, CEOs are saying to themselves, hey, I really don't want to buy hardware, I don't want to run this within my shop, I'd rather concentrate on the distribution of my food product rather than having my IT manager, quote unquote, run this application within a traditional data center. So I think that concept of putting your data into a data center or hosting in a private cloud is much more acceptable, both from an economic standpoint of the customer base as well as strategic. And I think that change in strategy is there's so much coming at an organization today. How do I stay current mobile? How do I do this and empower my sales force? Forget about running this application. Let someone else do it. Let's concentrate on how we sell more frozen chicken.
I thought that was interesting because it wasn't like you were saying companies want to get rid of their IT burden. It was more like no more data centers. I want to focus on strategic IT applications around mobile and stuff that touches the customer and not worry about the back end.
I agree with that, and I think that is a combination with business. And some things I've heard both at this conference as well as from different analysts, they're saying, the traditional IT decisions are moving away from that CIO into the CFO or the business unit. I think some of that's true, but I still think they go back to the CIO for what does all this mean? Because I'll argue that the job of a CIO is to educate that business community. What is cloud? What application is available in the cloud? Why would we maybe want to host it or get it out and not incur that capital expense? So there's still a strong partnership. Even though some of that decision-making is migrating into the business, they still need the CIO to help them with that.
The CIOs out there will appreciate that shout-out.
No charge for that, John.
At this time of duress. The other thing that jumped out at me a little bit was the importance of industry.
Yes.
And this came back a little bit to our discussion we were having about that you guys do some work with by design in Europe, but your emphasis in the U.S., in particular, All-in-One, and the industry expertise and functionality is a big part of that. Say more about that.
So whenever we go into a customer, whether it's a brand new prospect or an existing customer, the business pain or the problem that we help to solve, it's not about enabling my sales force, but what is the industry problem that I have? In other words, credibility in working with the customers, understanding how they build or manufacture a product, or they distribute it, or if you're in banking, how do I help my average savings daily balance and give me some analytics around that? First in other words, the first criteria is always industry, industry, industry. So we at Itelligence and partners in the SAP ecosystem always have that industry solution for them. I think that's absolutely critical.
Yes, and that gets into one other really interesting point you were getting at earlier, which was around that last mile.
Right.
And that you were saying, yeah, I can't really build a whole industry solution for SAP.
Right. Right.
But I am interested in doing some last mile stuff for the customer to close the deal.
Correct.
So how does that work? So it's sort of an evolution of platform is what you're saying.
Right. So you take a standard business application like SAP and its industry content, where we as partners have added value is we've taken their core solution, and let's use a simple analogy, it's 80% of the answer to the customer. That other 20% of that content, or in your words, the extra mile, is our vertical solution. So that's where we add value. That's still the role of the ecosystem around SAP. What's interesting to me now, John, as you look at the portfolio that SAP has beyond their core ECC. So now we have SuccessFactors, now we have Ariba, now we have different acquisitions, and we're going to put that in the cloud and so forth. I still think it's a job of the partner to say SAP has moved from a pure application company to more of a platform company, but the solutions and business problems are still around industry. So the value and the economics to a partner is to take that core platform, now that's all built upon HANA, as they say, and the different product suites within that platform, make them work together, build the integration between them, and build the industry content around of that. So still the value for us as a partner is that additional mile, that additional 20%, which is making those work together and bringing the industry content together. That's our secret sauce.
That makes sense. We should wrap this video, but I just want to get one more quick answer from you. How do you know that you've had a successful engagement or relation with a customer? What is there a certain metric around ROI? Is it more of a repeat business? How do you measure that?
So that, I'll boil it down to one thing, and I'll also talk about ROI. At the end of the day, what matters to us is that customer looks us eye to eye and says, I'm a reference for you. Because the additional business that we've got, they're satisfied based upon how well we met their business objective. That could be an ROI on this project, which could be core ECC. It could have been a Salesforce application and customer service, or it could be, as an example, we have a customer that was part of private equity that was being spun out as a standalone organization, and they had 6 months to get off their temporary services agreement, and we put them on an industry-specific, all-in-one solution from SAP. So their satisfaction and metric, that ROI, was based upon cost savings of getting off their parents' old legacy system onto a new SAP. So it could be many metrics, but at the end of the day, if that customer says, I will be your reference for the next prospect that you get to, that's what it's all about.
I guess it doesn't hurt if they'll go public with that as well and sing your praises, huh? That's always a
That's
good
what it
sign.
helps.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. All right, well, thanks for taking the time. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Great to talk to you. Thanks, John.
Appreciate it. Yep.